Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone.
Kids ask many questions about many things. They're curious about their parents' lives, past and present. Sadly, many parents do not welcome their personal questions. Many parents go silent or change the subject or tell the kid, "None of your business. Never ask that again." Many parents slam the door shut on personal questions from their kids. We as individuals are as sick as our secrets, and families are as sick as their secrets. Just as parents hide many things from their kids, kids learn to hide much of their lives and feelings from their parents. Sadly, many adults do not feel free to see and to say their own parents' weaknesses and mistakes. If you're a teenager or an adult with parents like that, and you want this to change, and for your parents to be open with you about their lives and their experiences, their feelings, tell your parents, "Ask me anything about my life. I aim to be open and honest with you, even if it is not what you want to hear." Families do not have to tiptoe around certain personal subjects. Families do not have to avoid certain personal subjects. If parents have refused to be open and honest about their own lives, teenagers and adult children can choose to be open and honest with their parents. Some of those parents, not all, may learn from their kids to open up and welcome personal questions. My mother was my all-time closest friend. My mother was open and honest with me about her life and feelings. She did not reject my personal questions. Sadly, many fathers, many mothers seldom or never warmly hug their kids, especially after the kids become teenagers. Often these fathers or mothers seldom or never received affectionate hugs from their parents. But if you're a teenager or adult and you deeply regret having no affectionate touch from your parents, take the lead with them. Ask your father, ask your mother, "May I give you a hug?" Slowly, some parents will change to want and to enjoy warmly hugging often. A person in New Mexico said, "1 year ago, I was practically bedridden with spinal arthritis and in constant pain unless I took medication every 3 hours. For the past year, the only time I need medication is when I foolishly eat bread or wheat products." This person says, "I'm once more able to spend an entire day climbing sand dunes, riding horseback. I sleep a full 8 hours with no pain. Enjoy living once again. This person who had spinal arthritis in constant pain, but when he or she stopped the bread and the wheat, pain-free. Trump had no hugs, no contact with his mother for years as a young boy. Trump was put down as a kid for being fat. Trump's father sent him to a military school. Trump's father taught him to worship money and power and to do anything he could get away with, to grab more money, more power, no matter how many people he made suffer. The dangerous bully lawyer Roy Cohn taught the young man Trump for years to always attack, deny everything, never admit defeat. None of us can say for sure that if we had gone through all that Trump did, we would not have committed his vicious evils. How long until millions of Trump voters realize he conned them with his hate-filled, white, racist lies? How long until millions of Trump voters regret voting for this love-starved, power-drunk, liar-in-chief and his gang of billionaires? If Trump cuts Medicaid and food stamps, if Trump's tariffs cause food prices and inflation to go up, if the United States suffers many more severe storms and wildfires, will Trump's voters wake up? First they came for the immigrants, and then they came for LGBTQ+, and then they came for our history lessons. Then they came for brown and black people. Then they came for federal employees. Then they came for the poor and struggling. If we do nothing, who will be next? Over 79 years ago, August 6, 1945, the United States atom-bombed Hiroshima, Japan. The United States murdered 100,000 people, over 30 times the number of people the terrorists murdered in New York and Washington, D.C. on 9/11/2001. The United States is the only nation on earth to atom bomb whole cities of people, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. The United States murdered mostly women and children in Hiroshima. Many of the men had gone to war. Eyes melted in their sockets. Noses and mouths became open holes. Friends did not recognize each other. Some no longer had faces. Many people completely evaporated. Some held their arms out from their bodies to avoid the agony of raw burns rubbing together. Sheets of their skin trailed from fingertips. Some reached out to help the severely injured and then drew back their hands Why? They were holding gobs of charred flesh. Is this treating other people as we want to be treated? Is this loving our neighbors as ourselves? Why? Why on earth would anyone be proud of Sandia Weapons Lab? Why would anybody be proud of Los Alamos Weapons Lab? Daily, for decades, they've designed hundreds of nuclear weapons, much worse than the bombs that mass murdered in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. A life-giving job at minimum wage is 1,000,000 times better than a mass murder job at Sandia Weapons Lab, Los Alamos Weapons Lab, Lockheed Martin, or Kirtland Air Force Base, no matter how high your paycheck. I love to dance. I love to dance to oldies music, Freddie Fender, Elvis Presley, Willie Nelson. I love to dance to mariachi music, to Diana Ross and the Supremes, to Motown, to New Mexico Chicano music. I love to dance to beautiful music, not just any music. I've never taken dance lessons. I dance what I feel. I dance with my friend Maria. I dance with other women. I dance a lot by myself. I would be so glad to dance with certain men, but sadly most men do not have the balls to dance with men unless it's in a gay bar. Women sometimes dance with women at fiestas. In 1986, 38 years ago, last August or September, I danced at a street dance with my boyfriend David in Freeport, Illinois, 6 miles from my family farm. And later that evening, David and I danced together at a Mexican bar, not a gay bar, in Rockford, Illinois. No one beat us up. No one threatened us in either place. And who knows how many men seeing David and me dancing wished they had the balls to dance with a man friend. Governments lie, especially during war. All governments lie. Truth is the first casualty of war. Mothers and dads, it's hell for your son or daughter to feel pressured to lie to you about who they are, if they're gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. Mothers and dads, it's hell for your son or daughter to feel pressured, whether they're 16 or 60, to tell you they believe in your religion if they don't believe in your religion. It's hell for any kid, whatever their age, to feel they have to lie to you or have you reject them if they tell you the truth, what you don't want to hear. You're severely abusing them, no matter how much you tell them you love them, if they do not feel totally free to tell you the whole truth. Like it or not, you're teaching your kids to lie. Awful child abuse. Parents, ask yourselves, do my kids know I want them to tell me the truth, even if it is not what I want to hear? No expensive gifts to your kids can substitute for having them feel and know they can risk telling you the truth. And you will still love them deeply. One close friend of mine suffered his mother's death months ago. Sadly, he lied to his mother about being gay or bisexual. My dear friend never felt free to tell her the truth. Sadly, she taught him to lie, and she may have never realized it. Mothers and dads, are you totally honest? Are you open with your kids about your own lives? I'm so glad my mother, in spite of all her many mistakes and weaknesses in life, loved me deeply and insisted on my telling her the truth. How can you expect your kids to be open and honest with you if you are not open and honest with them? No God heard and helped the millions of Jews, handicapped people, gypsies, gays, communists, murdered in the Nazi concentration camps and gas ovens. No God heard and helped Native Americans robbed and murdered by the U.S. government. No God heard and helped millions of enslaved African Americans. No God heard and helped millions the U.S. has murdered in many, many U.S. wars. So why would I expect any God to hear and help me when I'm suffering and begging for help? And even if you believe God helped some of those people, what are the odds of God helping you, helping me? I no longer believe in any fair, loving parent God hearing and helping, so why pray? I reject religious make-believe bullshit. No God is hearing and helping thousands of Ukrainians murdered by Russia. No God is hearing and helping thousands and thousands of Palestinians that have been murdered and injured in Gaza by Israel and by the United States. I carry a small bag of hot red chili pepper powder with me. Hot red chili pepper powder stops bleeding if we get cuts. Put it directly in the wound. It works like magic to stop the bleeding. And the great herbalist, Dr. John Christopher, said he never lost a person having a heart attack if he could get there in time to get a cup of water containing a teaspoon of hot red chili pepper down that person's throat. It's instant food to the heart to save that person's life. In Illinois, weeks before my mother died in February 1982, my brother and his two youngest sons, 11 and 13 at that time, came up from their farm down the road to do evening chores at our parents' farm. And to explain, for many years, I lived part-time in Albuquerque and part-time in Illinois with my parents when they were still living. And that evening, I was in Illinois, but I was not home with them. My mother later told me what happened that evening. After chores, my brother and his two sons came into our parents' home to talk before going back to their farm down the road. My brother and our dad started talking, as they often did, about their cattle and hog business, about prices, neighbors, whatever. My mother turned to my brother's young sons, her grandsons, and my mother told them, when you get big, do not be like your father and grandfather, because they cannot talk deep to each other. Be like your Uncle Don, because he can talk deep. And this was one of the best compliments I've ever received in my 79 years. And I wouldn't have known about this because, as I say, I wasn't home that evening, but my mother told me later. I don't know if my brother and his now adult sons remember what my mother said that evening, 42 years ago. Do you have any friends you talk deep and personal to? Friends you tell your deepest fears, feelings, questions? We all need that wonderful freedom with some close friends. I have a cassette tape at home of a 1970s conversation with my mother, my dad, and me on our Illinois farm. My mother was very open with my dad about her not enjoying being married to him. She was very open with me and my dad about her strong attraction to a certain married man. I don't know if that man ever realized how much my mother loved him. My mother never had sex with that married man. But on the cassette tape that I have from our 1970s conversation, my sadly very fat mother, who could not walk well, said to my dad and to me, I would walk to California for that man. And my dad said, you cannot walk across the room. And my mother said, I would try. Funny and very painful, but open and honest. I learned from my mother to be open about my life and to be passionate in my romantic feelings. In New York, two brothers were police officers, and these two brothers had 10 years of spotless records as cops. And these two brothers got into an awful argument with each other. And one brother sadly shot and killed his drunk brother. If anyone weeks earlier could have known, could have told these two brothers when they were arresting other people that one would shoot and kill the other, how would they have believed it? And if anyone years earlier could have told the white judge, Gerald Cole, here in Albuquerque, that he would later shoot and kill his wife and himself, how would that judge, that white judge, have believed it? Homes that have guns have much more risk of someone killing someone else, much more risk of a suicide than homes with no guns. A gun in the home is far more likely to shoot oneself, a family member, or a friend than a stranger breaking in. And we all are capable of terrifying violence. Good and evil are mixed together in all of us. And do not swallow the lie that only bad people will use guns wrong. In a moment of insane rage, all of us could kill someone, even a close loved one. And because I know that about myself, and because I aim to live non-violently toward all people, I drink no booze. I've never owned a gun. My mother and dad sadly had a miserable marriage, and I'm so glad my mother and dad were not boozers, and no guns were in our home. The former soldier, Private John G. Burnett, said in 1890, at this time, 1890, we are too near the removal of the Cherokees for our young people to understand the enormity of the crime that was committed against a helpless race. Truth is, the facts are being concealed from the young people of today, he said. School children of today, that was in 1890 when this former soldier dared to tell the truth. School children of today do not know that we're living on lands that were taken from a helpless race at the bayonet point to satisfy the white man's greed for gold. This former soldier says, murder is murder. And somebody must answer. Somebody must explain the streams of blood that flowed in the Indian country in the summer of 1838. Somebody must explain the 4,000 silent graves that marked the trail of the Cherokees to their exile. 4,000 silent graves. This former soldier says, I wish I could forget it all. But the picture of 645 wagons lumbering over the frozen ground with their cargo of suffering humanity still lingers in my memory. I remember my friend Michael, the oldest son of a large Catholic family in Iowa. My friend Michael ran a natural food store where I stopped many times when I drove my dad's truck through Michael's town. Michael was dark, lean, very attractive. He was a runner. He had sex with several women. I was strongly attracted to Michael, and Michael knew it. And one morning he phoned me when I was in Illinois, and he told me he wanted to experience sex with a man. So he drove 70 miles one way that day from his town to our farm. Michael and I went upstairs to my room. He lay down beside me for a moment, and then he got up. He could not do it. He was chained by shame and guilt about sex with men. Michael and I stayed friends for many years, but he and I never had sex. Michael later suffered serious health problems. Michael stopped having sex with women for years before he died alone in his apartment in Albuquerque. So very sad. Michael had moved to Albuquerque because of knowing me. If it were not for the heavy shame and guilt that millions of men feel about having sex with men, shame and guilt from family buddies, shame and guilt from religion, most, if not all men, would enjoy sex and romance with at least one man in their lives, even if they are strongly attracted to their wives or girlfriends and greatly enjoy sex and romance with those wives or girlfriends. Sex between men would become at least as popular with millions of men as baseball, basketball, any sport. And I dedicate this program to my friend, Michael. I lived for a year in a small town near Phoenix before I moved to Albuquerque in June of 1970, going on 55 years ago. And one of my many Chicano friends in that small town was Manuel, a teenager. Years later, he was my only Arizona friend to visit my parents and me in Illinois. A few years later, Manuel's sister and her boyfriend visited me in Albuquerque. And I told Manuel's sister and her boyfriend I am gay. But I had never told Manuel. His sister told Manuel, I am gay. Manuel became very upset, I think partly because I had told his sister before I told him. He wanted to be close friends with me. So Manuel called me long distance. He may have been drinking booze before he called me. Manuel said, "How could you do this to my family?" He both condemned me and he praised me in that same call. He told me he and his friends used to go into Phoenix and beat up gay people. So I told Manuel in that phone call about a gay white man I met years ago who had been in the Navy. And I asked this gay white man what it was like being gay in the Navy. And the gay white man said, "Not bad, except there was a married Chicano who picked a fight with him." And later, the two of them, the gay white guy and the married Chicano, were at the same party. And they got it on. Not with fists, but in sex. And the married Chicano went home to his wife, later came back to have more sex with the gay white man. The gay white man asked the married Chicano why, if he was attracted to him, why he had picked a fight with him earlier. And the married Chicano answered honestly, "I could not let my friends know." And after I told Manuel this story on that phone call, Manuel said, "Maybe I'm gay." It was like something that slipped out before he realized it. And I did not respond to what Manuel said. I don't know if Manuel was gay or bisexual. I don't know. And sadly, I have not heard from Manuel much, if anything, after that phone call over 40 years ago. Many adults get rich off poisoning kids' bodies and minds. Many churchgoers are horrified when kids kill kids and when kids kill old people. But many of these churchgoers have no conscience whatsoever against paying Uncle Sam tax dollars to kill kids and old people in other nations. Many kids are damned as no-good hoodlums for stealing cars and computers, while politicians and corporation presidents are praised as fabulously successful for stealing billions in natural resources and dirt-cheap labor from other nations. Some kids commit atrocious crimes, no question. They need to change their ways. But the number one responsibility for kids' crimes is on adults. Kids do not own the gun factories. Kids do not own the gun stores. Kids do not make and sell and advertise booze. Kids do not manufacture the violent video games. Kids do not make the major movies that glamorize war, rape, jealousy, booze, guns, cigarettes, revenge, robbery, and money addiction. Kids do not import the heroin and cocaine from abroad. Kids do not create the TV commercials pushing people to crave expensive crap no one needs and to do anything to get that crap. No kid should be spanked, cursed, bruised, beaten, ignored. Kids do not run Hollywood or McDonald's. Kids do not run Coca-Cola or Coors. Kids do not run Philip Morris or Wall Street. Kids do not run the Pentagon, Congress, the CIA. Kids do not run Baskin-Robbins, Sandia Weapons Lab, General Motors, Walmart, Exxon. Imagine if we adults refuse to work at any job that harms people and poisons our only home, Mother Earth. Imagine if we devoted ourselves every day to creating a world where it's easier for us all to be good and to do the right thing. I strongly support full human rights for all immigrants. Many immigrants flee here from war, persecution, severe poverty caused largely by the United States. Since 1950, 75 years ago, the United States government under both Republican and Democrat presidents has overthrown 50 governments. 50 governments overthrown. Many of those 50 governments were democracies. Since 1950, the U.S. government has bombed 30 nations. Do you hear that on TV or radio? If not, why not? The U.S. government deliberately supports the filthy rich in many nations. Why? So that huge corporations from here can rob the resources and cheap labor in those nations. And the filthy rich in those countries side with the U.S., Wall Street, Pentagon, against the masses of their own people. Many immigrants would prefer to stay in their native countries if living conditions there greatly improved. The U.S. invaded Mexico in the 1840s. The U.S. mass murdered many people in Mexico. The U.S. stole from Mexico most of what is now the U.S. Southwest, including this state of New Mexico. No human being is illegal. No human being is illegal. All immigrants are our sisters and brothers. And I speak today in memory of Jose, a bisexual immigrant from Mexico. I was in love with Jose. I had sex with Jose 70 times more than any other man in my life. I met him at the Spence Hot Springs in the Jemez Mountains. He was, I think, 23 at the time, in 1991. I loved Jose deeply. Sadly, I do not know if he's alive or dead. He was deported. The crime rate among immigrants coming to the United States is lower than the crime rate of people born here. Even though Trump and his gang lie about that. The crime rate among immigrants coming to the United States is lower than the crime rate of people born here. Trump fuels hatred against black and brown immigrants. Trump is a dangerous, lying dictator. Many immigrants become not healthy after moving here. Why? Many immigrants get addicted to the factory fake food and to McDonald's and other fast food that makes millions born here and immigrants sick, very sick, often with diabetes. Gambling destroys lives and families. Casinos have changed the name from gambling to gaming. But gambling is a filthy addiction to greed. A Chicago mother was charged with suffocating her 3-week-old daughter. Why? To collect a $200,000 insurance payment to pay for her gambling addiction. 6 elderly people were robbed and murdered in Louisiana. Why? Because the killer was addicted to video poker. A 10-day-old baby in South Carolina died in the suffocating heat, locked inside a car while her mother gambled for 7 hours straight. A Louisiana woman killed her parents to collect insurance to pay off her gambling debts. A 19-year-old Iowa college student committed suicide because of a gambling addiction. A Kansas City woman killed her husband to collect insurance to pay off her gambling debts. A retired couple in Illinois committed suicide because of gambling addiction. Hundreds of others have killed themselves because of gambling addiction. If someone had told those people 5 years before they would commit these horrors because of their gambling addiction, would any of them have believed it? How can politicians claim to support family values while they accept campaign contributions from casinos? How can politicians claim to work for justice for the poor while they accept contributions from casinos? I damn all gambling. In church bingo, in Las Vegas, Nevada, on Wall Street, the New Mexico State Lottery, in all casinos, I damn all gambling. If those casinos are run by whites or by Indians, by Chicanos or whomever, I damn all gambling. Rats' tooth decay problems are almost the same as in our human teeth. And one study divided rats into 3 groups. The first group of rats received a standard cooked rat food. And these rats averaged less than 1 cavity per rat. And the second group of rats was fed a diet heavy in refined sugar shit. And they averaged 5 1/2 cavities per rat. The third group of rats were fed pasteurized milk. They averaged 9.5 cavities per rat. Rats' tooth decay problems are almost the same as in our human teeth. And for many years, sadly, foolishly, I pigged out on cooked food, sugar shit, pasteurized cheese, milk, and ice cream. No wonder all my teeth, sadly, are gone. My favorite lubricant for fucking is plenty of saliva. And my next favorite lubricant is cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. I want no chemical lubricants for sex. Cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil is also great for our dry skin. And I just put some on my arms and belly before this program. Extra virgin cold-pressed olive oil. I've owned no sport coat, no suit coat for many years. I reject men's sport coats and suit coats, and one reason is they hide men's asses. I love to see tight, firm asses on lean, healthy men. And many years ago, my gay Chicano friend here in Albuquerque, his name is Steve, taught me the great pleasure of having my ass licked. If a lean, healthy man is attracted to me, and if I'm attracted to him, I love to lick his ass. And would you believe a medical doctor told me our mouths have more germs than our assholes. For many years, people wondered if I'm a hippie. Well, it depends what you mean by hippie. If you mean someone who is not dependable, someone lazy, strung out on LSD, hell no, I am not a hippie. But if you mean someone against war, if you mean someone who enjoys living simply, if you mean someone who enjoys being naked or close to it when warm enough, if you mean someone who likes bright colors, someone who likes long hair on men, if you mean someone who enjoys sex with more than one person at the same time in one's life, yes, I sure as hell am a hippie, and I am glad to be a hippie. Cooking destroys most of the nutrients in raw plant foods. And I stopped cooking my food in 1998. No cooked seed will sprout. You can water that cooked seed, pray, hope till hell freezes over. The cooked seed is dead. And we need raw, living plant foods for the best health. Cooking destroys most of the time, the labor, the resources, the energy, which went into growing and marketing and preparing that food. Men, if you're watching a sex video where a man and a woman are affectionately making passionate love, Do you feel ashamed or embarrassed if a man friend you did not expect walks in? Or if a woman friend you did not expect walks in on you watching a sex video of a man and a woman affectionately making passionate love? And men, if you're watching a sex video where two men are affectionately making passionate love, do you feel ashamed or embarrassed if a man friend you did not expect walks in, or if a woman friend you did not expect walks in on you? Men, if you're watching on TV men boxing or doing mixed martial arts or playing football, bruising, brain injury, blooding each other, and a man friend or a woman friend walks in, do you feel ashamed or embarrassed? I would be ashamed as hell to watch men bruise, brain injure, and bloody each other. I greatly enjoy watching men affectionately making passionate love with each other. I have no shame, no guilt, no embarrassment if any woman or any man friend walks in on me. I condemn all rape. I condemn all violent porno. I condemn all violent sports. Have you seen two men boxers stare into each other's eyes before they begin boxing? Do some or many of those boxers think to themselves, I would love to suck his cock. I would love to fuck and lick his ass and have him do me? I strongly thank Mark, Eddie, Travis for helping me many dozens of times with this program. And I thank you for watching and listening, and I welcome you. I invite you to stop me on the street or wherever you see me if you want to talk. And I love to hug men and women, all ages, all colors, all sizes, if they want to hug with me. To your health, my fresh piss.
Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you high, and when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on. And when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on. And when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine